Hey friends, today on Gardening with Creekside, we're going to have some fun. We are going to plant 2 David Austin bare root roses in containers in the backyard. I don't know if you're like me as a gardener, you'll tell yourself at a certain point, right? You're like, I have enough of, and then fill in the blank. I have enough roses, I have enough hostas, I have enough petunias, like whatever it is, right? And then something comes along and you're just like, oh, I really got to have that in my garden. Well, that happened to me this winter. I had said I have got enough David Austins for right now. I don't have anywhere else to put them. I'm just going to wait and not get any more. Well, then David Austin roses, of course, they had the audacity to send me an email and they're like, hey, we have 2 new varieties being introduced this year and we're going to, offer it up if you want to do early ordering. Would you be interested? Well, of course I'm interested. So that is what we are going to do today. I have them right here at Johnny. We got all of our supplies loaded up. The pots are in place. We'll show you those in just a second. But we have our potting soil, our compost, our mycorrhiza fungi from David Austin. You can order this when you're getting your David Austins. Of course, they really do encourage that because it is wonderful for root growth. And then here in my tub, I have Elizabeth soaking and I have Nye Bevan that is soaking. We will talk about all of their gorgeousness, but when you get a bare root rose from David Austin, they recommend and highly encourage rather that you go ahead and soak them in water. I think it's for a minimum of 2 hours. So I have my handy dandy phone with the David Austin website pulled up because I don't trust myself to talk about these and not get them correct. So let's talk about these brand new roses that were introduced this year. So Elizabeth, of course, named for the Queen, right? And if you know anything about Queen Elizabeth, her favorite color was pink. Yes. So Elizabeth is a beautiful pale pink apricot flower, very much like kind of like an apple blossom color. This rose is best for flowering, fragrance, and for health. It is a repeat flowering. It has this fragrance of a strong, sweet old rose. That is my absolute favorite scent of a rose. I love that. This is going to be kind of large. It's going to be 4.5 by 4.5. So we've got a good size unique stone container that she is going to go in. And of course it says it is a majestic rose. Well, of course it is, because it is after the Queen. This is great for pots, containers, shady area, rose borders, rose hedges, lots of good information on that. And I think it's zones 5 to 11 on this. Yes, so zone 5 to 11. So that is Elizabeth. Now, Nye Bevan is going to be a... My alarm's going off. It's just Jerry. But my 4-legged alarm decided that she needs to tell me that Jerry is here. He's been out on a job today and you can see him coming home. So we'll give him a nice little wave as he drives by. Brenna's gonna say hello and we're gonna keep on going. All right. Sorry for the interruption there. So Nye Bevan is going to be a beautiful pale yellow. It is a repeat flowering. On the website though, it says that it does a beautiful like first flush in the spring, and then to encourage more repeat blooms that you will need to deadhead it. So you want to take off any rose hips that start to form so that you get fresh flowers. We can do that, not a problem. It has a light medium myrrh fragrance to it. Maybe not my favorite scent. That's kind of like what Scepter d'Isle is. But the flowers are so gorgeous. It's like, who cares? I'll just go smell Elizabeth and pretend that it's Nye Bevan. This is gonna be a little bit smaller, a 3.5 by a 3.5. So it's not gonna be too large and gorgeous. It says unusual open cut flowers, soft yellow, paling to cream. So this is going to be really fun. And then again, it is hardy in zones 5 to 11. So we're going to get those into the backyard. While we are here at this space, I do want to go ahead and give you an update on the other rose that I said I wasn't going to buy this year, which is another David Austin. This was, or is rather, the Rose of Princess Anne Standard. So you can see right here, here she is. I wanted to give you an update. You watched me plant that. If you missed that video, you can check out the link above. But look at that, beautiful, nice foliage on it. Has really fleshed out quite nicely. And the great thing is about planting this time of year is that I have not rewatered this rose. Oh, look, we have a friend. Sorry. I have not rewatered this rose since I planted it. I really hope Brenna doesn't see this because she loves chasing these. Look. He was so camouflaged. Maybe he was eating any kind of little bugs that would be on there. That would be great. Anyway, so if you plant it in early spring, right, we have consistent rain here in the south, like at least once a week. Like it rained, we get a lot of rain. And then like the heat hits and then it stops. It's on irrigation. These guys will be on irrigation, but flushing out beautifully. And then of course we cannot be in this space without talking about these gorgeous flowering perennials, right? I mean, just stunning. So let's start on this end. This is an Amsonia. It is a native Amsonia. Just really nice, fine thread-like foliage on it. It's towards the end of its bloom right now with those really nice sky blue star-shaped flowers. Beautiful. I probably will go ahead and cut it back by half. That way it stays nice and tight and thick and doesn't get too floppy. So we've got that. Daylilies are getting massive. That'll be really fun. And then this beautiful yellow iris, I simply call this Miss Mary's iris. She was actually my 7th grade science teacher, and she and my mom became good friends, was a beautiful gardener. And this came from her garden 30 years ago, probably, somewhere around there. So I have no clue what it's actually called, but this is Miss Mary's. And then back here in the back, I mean, gosh, y'all, look at this. This is the lemon meringue baptisia. It is probably at least 4 feet wide. Up here at the top, 4 feet wide across. It has been in this flower bed since this bed was created, which was like 5 or 6 years ago, I believe. And just, she is in all of her glory. Baptisias, they are very long-lived perennials in your garden because they have a really deep taproot. But lemon meringue, I think you'll understand why I absolutely adore this plant. It really is probably my favorite, and probably because it was here in the garden first, but covered in flowers, absolutely covered. And then right beside of it, this is the Azure Snow, the Color Spires Azure Snow Perennial Salvia. Did really well, and look, there's a honeybee right there for you. This has been in, maybe this is going to be its 3rd season. It is the only one that survived. I did have them all the way across the back. I think there was 3 on each side, and this is the only one that that looks good. Well, not even looks good. It's alive. It's the only one that's here. So yeah, so that is there, but I just wanted to show this at space to you. Now, without further ado, we're going to move to the back and we are going to get those roses into the containers, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do it. Here we are in the backyard. Give you a little update, little perspective of where we're going to plant these roses. Of course, we are right off of the patio where the backyard beds are. Give you a little bit of an update on how things are doing. But first, where I thought about putting it was where we created this little stone pad for the tornado urn. And when we put it there, I was like, nope, I do not like it. You can see it is now in the back of the flower bed. Makes so much more sense right there. It was just too weighty right here. It was too tall. It was blocking everything back here. Back there makes so much more sense. Brenna, of course, 'tis the season, and she finds the shade. So to give you an update on how things are doing, look at my summerific hibiscus. This is a Valentine's Crush. Look at that beautiful growth already here. We're only just now getting to the end of April. Fantastic. Looking at that, loving it. And then those massive chartreuse pops of color. That is the Drops of Jupiter oregano. Wonderful ornamental oregano from Proven Winners and our friends at Walter's Gardens. You can eat it. It's not the most tasty oregano. Obviously it is meant to be an ornamental. This was an evergreen for me this winter, and stunning, gorgeous. And then back here, I have 3 of the Pearl Glam Beauty Berries that are flushing out. You saw me plant this, gosh, it was late in the season when I planted it. They are doing really nicely, as are my double play doozy spireas right here. That will give me a nice hot pink color, of course. Jonquils are done. Just let them die back naturally. All will be well. And then here we have the Tornado Urn from Unique Stone. This is in dark walnut. Elizabeth is going to go here. My Americana Agave was right here, and the Arctic Blast just fried it, killed it. So we're gonna pivot and we're gonna put Elizabeth there. She is now just on a nice base. There is drip right here, and I do have, you can see the brown tubing, and then there is an emitter right here with the white tube going up and then going inside of the Tornado Urn. You will notice that I have rocks in the bottom. I am following exactly what the folks at David Austin say, and I will put a link in the comments in the video description so that you can watch the head gardener at David Austin plant up and give instructions on how to plant a rose in a container. I am literally following their step-by-step instructions. So they said make sure it's well draining, put like broken terracotta, something like that. We just had some of this river rock that was left over, and it was quote dirty, mixed in with other gravel. So I just threw it in there so that we have a nice drain for that. So there you go. So that's that. The peonies are coming up. These are all the Ito peonies. No buds on them. These are ones I planted when we installed the bed. So no buds on these yet. But everything else in this garden is looking great. Again, there is another Valentine's Crush right here. Now, these are peonies that I planted, started from bare root myself 2 years ago. Nothing happened last year, but you can see I have 2 buds right there, and then I have my name tag down here. This is Festiva Maxima, and so doing really nice. A couple of them don't have any buds on them, and that's okay, right? These are very young plants. That doesn't bother me. We'll see what happens, but in the coming years, I know they'll be okay. And then these, oh, look at this, the ultraviolet phlox, gorgeous. Panicle phlox, get nice and tall, will be gorgeous. My Harry Lauder walking stick has completely flushed out. We love that. Echinacea, y'all, look at this. This echinacea has got buds on it. What in the world? Echinacea buds in April? Crazy. Now, as beautiful and as big as this one is, look at that one. Barely hanging on for dear life. But yeah, so I just thought that was too funny. My yarrow doing great. Another beautiful yellow right here. We're gonna have lots of yellow. These echinacea also are doing really nice. It too has a bud on it. This is the Summer Song Firefinch echinacea from Proven Winners. And yeah, crazy weather. And then here we have the Relief Planter from Unique Stone, and this is where Nye Bevan is going to go. So beautiful. This I want to say the color on this one might be light walnut or ancient age. I do not remember, but it's a relief planter because it has that artwork that is raised up, right? So that is a type of art, and so it is a relief planter. Nye Bevan is going to go there, which will pair beautifully with the white magnolia. That is a little gem, and then the Julia Child rose that is a standard form. Now, yes, absolutely, we got to stake this baby because she's a leaner. That is not good. So we've got to stake it. I've got to find a stake and get it done ASAP, because with all that beautiful top growth on there, we have some buds forming right there. If we get a windstorm, she could easily go. Obviously, I do not want that to happen, and so we're going to get her staked and get her nice and happy. So I'm gonna get my stuff set up, and then we are going to start with Elizabeth, get her planted, and then we'll move over here to Nye Bevan and get him planted. Okay, so here I have got as close to the urn as I possibly could, and then I have a nice big trug with me. I love this. You can get it from a lot of different garden supply companies. This one will hold a good bit of soil, because what we're going to do is we are going to mix equal parts of the black gold garden compost with my beloved Proven Winners potting soil. David Austin, they recommend mix equal parts 50-50 of compost potting soil, high quality potting soil. Don't go and buy the $2 bag of potting soil, y'all. These are going to be roses that are going to last you forever. Invest in some really good high quality potting soil. Mix it half and half, 50-50, and then we're going to get that in, get a nice base, and then we're going to put our rose in. So that's what I'm going to do, is just use my tub right here. I might have to do a couple of different batches just because of the size of the tub versus the size of the urn. Mix that in, get a nice base, and then I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to place and how deep you want to place your rose in the container. Alright, so I have intentionally set the camera up like this. I know you can't see my face, but you can see the beautiful rose and the container. I have the mixture of the half and half compost potting soil in here. You'll notice that I pulled it up on the sides and that I have basically a hole in the middle. My irrigation is underneath the rose, and you have these are your roots, right? So you have your roots. There was one that was really long and very hard, and so it was preventing me from getting her in the right spot. I just clipped her off just a little bit so that I could move the rose where I wanted. Next, you're going to take your mycorrhiza fungi. If you do not have this, Biotone would be a great option. And you're just going to sprinkle it on the roots. You're also going to get some that's going to go in the hole. Now this packet is enough for 3 roses. I only have 2, so I'm going to use what I've got between the 2 of them. There we go. Now, you want to make sure that your rose is going to be in the center of the pot. This is where the rose has been grafted onto a sturdier rootstock. This is what we want below the soil line. So if this is my soil line, I want it below that. So we're going to kind of push down. Elizabeth seems to be, she's going to be a thorny girl, so we're going to keep her down. My roots are going out. I have not pushed them down. They're just nice and pliable. That's where the soaking comes in, rehydrates. And then I'm going to go ahead and right now, for the sake of it, bring this soil back down, and that will help hold her into place, pushing down, and then I can really kind of tamp all of this down before I add new soil compost mixture, right? So that's in there nice and tight. She'll hold it just a little bit until I can get my other soil. Come back in here, making sure, there we go, shake this all in. All right, spread that around. It doesn't look like I'm going to have enough, which is fine, not a problem. I can easily make more. So there we go. And just tamping it as I go down so that my rose is nice and secure in there. There's no air pockets. Everybody's nice and happy. Pushing down. And now the rose may look like it's crooked, like it's growing this way. Well, that part of that is true. Brenna, no. Part of that is true, but as it gets sun all around this rose, it'll start to grow this way as well. But my stem is nice and straight. So I'm going to mix up some more soil right quick, and then we'll finish this off. Okay, sweet friends, so I have got Elizabeth in her new home. I know, remember, you're looking at it from an angle and you're like, Jenny, she's off-centered. Remember, she's gonna grow this way too. Now, the great thing about having a rose in a container, especially a young rose like this, is I can easily come back and plant some annuals in here around it. And I probably will do that. I'm just not gonna do that today. But she is in here, she is nice and happy, she is well watered. She is on irrigation. We have not turned our irrigation on yet though, because we just simply don't need it. We are getting such consistent rain. You want to go with the biggest container that you possibly can when you're putting a rose, a shrub, into the container, because thinking long term, right? I want her to stay in here for a very long time. Therefore, she needs as much soil nutrition as she possibly can have so that her roots can get really, really well established. At some point, a couple of years from now, however many years from now, I don't know, it's my first time putting a rose in a container, I may need to take her out and put her in the landscape somewhere, and that's okay. It's not a problem. But her being really well watered right now, we're gonna have beautiful sunshiny days for the next 3 days. I do not need to come back and water her. There's plenty of moisture in this container. I did top dress with just the compost. That way it kind of cleans it up a little bit. And then we're gonna get like 3 days of rain. So it is fine. Like, I do not need to be out here watering her every single day right now. If I was planting this in July and August, yes, I would need to be out here constantly every day checking the soil level and probably watering her every day, because the temperatures would just be out of the roof. Right now it is a beautiful day, nice and cool, and it feels fantastic. She is nice and well watered. Now we will go over and put Nye Bevan in his container, and you'll notice I'll say his and hers. Elizabeth, obviously, is after Queen Elizabeth, female, right? And then Nye Bevan, he was a British politician who I think instituted the healthcare system, the national healthcare system for Great Britain. So the rose was named after him. So that's why we have his and her roses here today. So we're gonna pop on over and we're gonna do the exact same thing with Nye Bevan. All right, so both of the roses are in their new home, all nice and tucked in and well watered. Cannot wait to see some growth on these guys and gal, and then of course to have some beautiful flowers. We will keep you updated. So let me show you what everybody looks like. Now, I did go ahead, I am learning that I need to go ahead and label these plants. I'd left the David Austin tag on the rose for right now. I may take it off just because it's white and I can really see it. And of course, then I have my little copper tag that I get from Kinsman Garden Company to let me know what it is in case I forget. But he has got, excuse me, lots of those canes sticking up. We'll see some growth, I would say really quickly within the next week, 10 days. We will definitely see some growth popping out on this sweet rose right there. So that is where he is, and just kind of backing up to give you perspective on this whole entire flower bed, where he is in perspective to everything. So you will see, of course, the end of the bed here with the maple tree. really very much in the center, right to the right of the little gem magnolia. And then of course working our way over where we have the century, the Princeton century, I believe. That too is a male ginkgo tree. That way it doesn't smell and it doesn't drop little babies everywhere. Along with the gorgeous bluebird house from our friends at Heartwood down in Star, Mississippi. There's a family of bluebirds in there, and we have eggs. Megan saw the eggs. Then just painting over just a little bit to the next flower bed, you will see where Miss Queen Elizabeth is in her bed. So really nice towards the back, right? So be nice, really soft, beautiful pink. I know they probably won't be blooming they won't be blooming at the same time, but here we have, I'm backing up just a little bit again. This is the Okami cherry tree, one of the earliest blooming cherry trees. Will be the same color as Elizabeth. Not gonna bloom at the same time, that's all right, but there is that color coordination happening there. And then like I told you earlier with the double play doozy spireas, they are a nice hot pink. They will be blooming at the same time as Elizabeth back here in the back. And then the peonies, whenever they start blooming, there's a yellow, there's a red, and there's a something else, I'm not sure. That would be really pretty if Elizabeth blooms early. When my Amsonia right here, this is a storm cloud. It is just finishing up with its nice sky blue flowers. But yeah, nice big urn right here for her to grow in, get nice and happy. With this one, I probably will add some annuals this year to around her, just to fill it in, and why not? I mean, I have the space, go ahead and use it and add some extra colors right there. It will be gorgeous. But again, I'm gonna pivot here, show a little perspective. So this is the back of the flower bed looking up to the house. So you can see the patio right there. I don't know if you can see that pop of pink way back there in the middle trellis. That is Gertrude Jekyll. She is blooming her ever-loving head off. Love that rose. And everything is coming out nicely. The Generous Gardener on the arch is getting ready to explode in color. So once she starts blooming, I will show that to you. But this whole space right here is just growing and developing. Give you an idea, these two flower beds right here just celebrated their very first birthday. Yep, they have been in the ground, been in creation and planted within a year. The maple tree and the Okami were already here. The Okami, the ginkgo, and the and the maple. They were here, and then we created the flower beds around them. So a lot can happen in a year. A lot of hard work, and then of course a lot of beautiful plants. So excited to see this first birthday with this flower bed, and then how it's going to grow and develop in the coming years, especially with the addition of these two beautiful roses. As always, I hope you have found this fun and informative and inspiring. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.